Welcome back to Quarter-Old Money News. Before you spend your spare change, take a close look, because an ordinary-looking 1981p quarter or 1985p quarter could be hiding an incredible secret. Some rare error examples have sold for astonishing prices, with the most valuable reaching over $11 million in claims online. Could one be sitting in your pocket right now? Stay with us as we uncover the facts, the rare errors, and what makes these coins so valuable. Let's get started. Have you ever looked at a 1981p Washington quarter and wondered if it could be hiding an incredible secret? Stories about ordinary pocket change selling for millions of dollars spread across the internet every day, but the real excitement comes from understanding what actually makes a coin valuable. Today, we're taking a close look at the 1981p quarter, especially examples that collectors describe as having an unusual dark or black shine appearance. While dramatic claims often appear online, the truth is that rarity, condition, and genuine mint errors, not simply a dark color, are what determine whether a coin is worth a few cents or hundreds, even thousands of dollars. That's why collectors carefully inspect every detail before deciding a coin's true value. The 1981p Washington quarter was struck at the Philadelphia Mint during a time when millions of quarters were produced for everyday commerce. Because so many were made, most examples found in circulation remain worth only their face value. However, exceptional coins can stand out from the crowd. A quarter that has never entered circulation still shows crisp details, brilliant luster, and almost no contact marks may receive a high mint state grade from a professional grading service. Collectors compete for these top-quality examples because they are far scarcer than ordinary circulated coins, proving that preservation can be just as important as rarity. One feature that sparks curiosity is the so-called black shine appearance. In many cases, this dark glossy look is not a rare mint variety, but the result of natural toning, environmental exposure, or long-term storage. Sometimes a coin develops deep gray, blue, or nearly black colors over decades. When the toning is attractive and completely natural, collectors may appreciate its unique appearance. On the other hand, if the dark color comes from cleaning, chemicals, or damage, the coin's value can actually decrease. This is why experienced collectors never judge a coin's worth by color alone. The real treasures among 1981p quarters are coins with authentic mint errors. During production, mistakes occasionally occurred, creating doubled designs, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, broad strikes, or die cracks. These genuine mint errors are much rarer than ordinary coins, and often attract strong interest from collectors. The more dramatic and well-preserved the error, the greater its potential value. Even then, prices depend on rarity, collector demand, and the overall quality of the coin. Rather than sensational headlines promising instant fortunes, condition remains the single biggest factor separating common coins from valuable collectibles. A 1981p quarter with sharp details, full mint luster, and no signs of wear is much harder to find than one that spent decades changing hands and cash registers. Professional grading services examine every tiny mark under magnification before assigning a numerical grade. As the grade climbs toward the highest levels, the number of surviving examples becomes extremely small, and competition among collectors can push prices dramatically higher. This is why experienced collectors handle potential finds carefully and avoid cleaning them, since even a light cleaning can permanently reduce value. Many videos and social media posts claim that almost any old quarter could be worth millions of dollars overnight. Those stories create excitement, but successful coin collecting is built on knowledge rather than hype. A genuine million-dollar coin is extraordinarily rare and usually possesses an exceptional combination of historical importance, extreme rarity, remarkable condition, or a famous minting error. Most 1981p quarters will never reach those levels, but discovering a high-grade or authentic error coin can still be an exciting and rewarding experience for any collector. If you own several 1981p quarters, the best approach is to inspect each one under good lighting. Look for strong details, original surfaces, unusual but natural-looking luster, and any obvious striking errors. Store promising coins in protective holders instead of loose containers where scratches can occur. If a coin appears truly exceptional, consider having it evaluated by a respected grading service before assuming it is extremely valuable. Patience, careful observation, and realistic expectations are the qualities that separate knowledgeable collectors from people who simply chase internet rumors. The greatest lesson from the 1981p quarter is that every coin has a story waiting to be discovered. Most will remain ordinary reminders of everyday American history, while a small number may surprise collectors with outstanding quality or fascinating mint errors. The thrill of searching through pocket change isn't just about finding a fortune, it's about learning the history behind each coin and understanding what makes certain pieces genuinely special. So before you spend your next quarter, take a closer look. You may not discover a millionaire's treasure, but you could begin an exciting journey into the world of coin collecting, where knowledge is always the most valuable collectible. Have you ever wondered if the ordinary quarter sitting in your pocket could secretly be worth thousands or even change your financial future? Every year, millions of Americans spend loose change without giving it a second thought. Yet collectors know that some coins become extraordinary because of their rarity, condition, or unusual minting mistakes. Today, we're taking a close look at the fascinating 1981p Washington quarter, a coin that many people overlook, but that has become increasingly interesting to collectors. Before you spend another quarter, you may want to inspect it a little more carefully. The 1981p quarter was struck at the Philadelphia Mint during a period when the United States was producing enormous numbers of circulating coins. Most examples are common and worth only their face value of 25 cents. However, not every coin leaves the mint in perfect condition. A small number were struck with noticeable mint errors, while others survived for decades without entering circulation. These exceptional pieces are the ones that attract the attention of serious collectors and professional grading companies. One of the biggest reasons a 1981p quarter can become valuable is its condition. Coins that remain completely uncirculated, with sharp details, brilliant luster, and virtually no marks, are surprisingly difficult to find. Many quarters from 1981 entered circulation immediately and were used heavily, leaving only a limited number in top collector grades. When a coin receives an outstanding grade from a respected grading service, its value can rise dramatically because collectors compete for the finest known examples. Another feature that excites collectors is the possibility of genuine mint errors. A double die, an off-center strike, a clipped planchet, or a broad strike can transform an ordinary quarter into a collectible rarity. These mistakes occur during the minting process and are not intentionally created. Because authentic errors are uncommon, collectors are often willing to pay significant premiums for examples that are clearly visible and professionally authenticated. That is why examining both sides of every coin carefully can sometimes reveal something special. You may have seen dramatic headlines claiming that certain 1981p quarters are worth millions of dollars. While those stories attract attention, there is no verified public auction record showing an ordinary 1981p Washington quarter selling for $1.9 million. In reality, the highest values are usually reserved for exceptionally rare mint errors, unique varieties, or coins with extraordinary certified grades. The excitement surrounding these coins comes from their rarity, not simply from their date alone. If you own a 1981p quarter, don't rush to clean it or polish it. Cleaning a collectible coin almost always reduces its value because collectors prefer original surfaces. Instead, hold the coin by its edges, inspect it under good lighting, and look for unusual features, sharp details, and signs that it may never have circulated. If you believe you have an unusual example, consider having it evaluated by a professional coin grading service before making any decisions. Coin collecting is more than searching for money, it's the journey through American history. Every quarter tells the story of the era in which it was produced, reflecting the technology, economy, and craftsmanship of the United States Mint. Even if your coin isn't worth a fortune, Learning how to identify rare varieties and preserve valuable pieces can become an enjoyable hobby that connects you with millions of collectors around the world. Thank you for watching. If you enjoy discovering hidden treasures in everyday pocket change, you're in the right place. Subscribe for more videos about rare American coins, valuable mint errors, surprising auction stories, and expert collecting tips. And before you spend your next quarter, take one last careful look. You never know when an ordinary-looking coin could become the most interesting piece in your collection.
Imagine reaching into your pocket for a simple quarter, only to discover that the coin you've carried for years has become one of the most sought-after treasures among collectors. It sounds like the beginning of a movie, but this dream keeps millions of Americans checking their change every single day. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're uncovering the truth behind rare American quarter dollars, the legendary bicentennial quarter, and the mysterious 1985 Washington quarter. Some people online claim these coins are worth hundreds of millions of dollars, but what is fact and what is fiction? Stay with us until the end, because knowing the difference between an ordinary coin and a genuinely collectible one could save you from missing an opportunity hiding in plain sight. The bicentennial quarter was created to celebrate America's 200th birthday and carries the famous dual date, 1776-1976, along with the colonial drummer design on the reverse. Because it looks different from a regular Washington quarter, many people immediately assume it must be extremely rare. In reality, millions of bicentennial quarters were produced for circulation, meaning that most examples found in pocket change are only worth their face value. However, that doesn't mean every bicentennial quarter is ordinary. Coins struck with unusual minting errors, preserved in exceptional condition, or made from special collector compositions can become highly desirable. These are the pieces that collectors compete for, not the average circulated coins that have spent decades passing from hand to hand. Now let's talk about the 1985 Washington quarter. It was minted in Philadelphia and was produced in very large numbers, so an average 1985 quarter is not considered rare. Still, collectors carefully inspect these coins because a tiny number may display minting mistakes that make them stand out from the rest. A dramatic off-center strike, a broad strike, a doubled design, or another genuine mint error can transform an ordinary coin into a collectible piece. The value depends on the rarity of the error, the coin's condition, and how much interest it attracts from collectors. That's why experienced numismatists always examine every detail instead of believing sensational headlines. One of the biggest reasons rare coins become valuable is condition. Two quarters struck on the same day can have completely different values decades later. A coin that has never entered circulation, still showing its original mint luster and almost no marks, is far more desirable than one that has been worn smooth in everyday use. Professional grading services evaluate a coin's preservation, and even a single point difference on the grading scale can dramatically change its market value. This is why collectors recommend handling potentially valuable coins carefully and avoiding harsh cleaning, which can permanently reduce their appeal. The internet is filled with eye-catching claims that a common quarter is worth $10 million, $100 million, or even $570 million. These headlines attract attention because everyone dreams of discovering life-changing wealth in spare change. The truth is that such extraordinary prices require extraordinary proof. When a coin truly sells for an exceptional amount, there is usually a unique reason behind it, such as an extremely rare error, an experimental strike, a famous pedigree, or a record-setting auction. Without those factors, a regular circulating quarter is unlikely to command an unbelievable price simply because of its date. If you think you've found an unusual quarter, the smartest approach is to inspect it carefully under good lighting. Look for unusual features that appear to have occurred during the minting process rather than after years of damage. Compare the lettering, date, mint mark, and overall appearance with a normal example. If the coin seems genuinely different, keeping it in a protective holder and seeking an expert opinion is often a better decision than spending it. Patience is one of the most valuable tools in coin collecting because accurate identification matters far more than exciting rumors. Coin collecting is about much more than chasing huge dollar amounts. Every American quarter represents a small piece of history, connecting us to the era in which it was made. The bicentennial quarter reminds people of the nation's 200th anniversary, while the 1985 quarter reflects a different chapter in American coinage. For many collectors, the excitement comes from learning these stories, searching through rolls of coins, and discovering unusual pieces that others might overlook. Even if a coin is not worth a fortune, the journey of learning and collecting can be rewarding in its own right. Before you spend your next quarter, take one more look. It may simply be 25 cents, or it could be an interesting collectible with a story waiting to be discovered. The key is to separate verified facts from internet myths and let knowledge guide your search. If you enjoy uncovering the truth behind rare American coins, hidden mint errors, and the fascinating history of US currency, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. You never know which coin we'll uncover next, and your next pocketful of change might hold a surprise worth remembering. Have you ever looked at a quarter in your pocket and wondered if it could be worth a life-changing amount of money? Welcome back to Quarter Old Money News. Today we're talking about the 1985 Washington quarter, a coin that often appears in viral videos with claims of being worth $10 million or even more. Before you get too excited, it's important to understand the real story. Millions of 1985 quarters were struck for everyday circulation, making most examples worth only their face value. However, a tiny number of these coins can become highly valuable when they have extraordinary mint errors, exceptional preservation, or unique characteristics that make collectors compete for them. Knowing the difference between an ordinary coin and a genuinely collectible one is the key to avoiding misinformation and recognizing a true treasure if you ever find one. The 1985 Washington quarter was produced at the Philadelphia Mint and carries no mint mark, which was normal for Philadelphia quarters of that time. These coins featured George Washington on the front and the traditional eagle design on the back. They were made primarily from a copper core with an outer layer of copper nickel, giving them their familiar silver-colored appearance. Because hundreds of millions were produced, finding a normal 1985 quarter is very easy. What makes a collector stop and pay attention is not the date alone, but the coin's condition. A brilliant, sharply struck coin that has never been used in circulation is much scarcer than one that has spent decades passing from hand to hand. One of the biggest reasons a 1985 quarter can become valuable is the presence of a genuine mint error. During the minting process, mistakes can occasionally happen, creating coins that are different from the standard design. Examples include dramatic off-center strikes, double strikes, broad strikes, clips, or other production mistakes that escaped quality control. These unusual pieces are fascinating because each one tells a unique story about what happened inside the mint. Collectors often seek authentic error coins because they are naturally rare, and no two major errors are exactly alike. However, damage that happens after a coin leaves the mint, such as scratches, dents, or alterations, is generally not considered valuable by serious collectors. Another factor that greatly influences value is the coin's grade. Professional grading services carefully examine a coin's surfaces, luster, strike quality, and overall preservation. A quarter that has remained untouched since it was minted can receive a very high mint state grade, making it much more desirable than a worn example. High-grade modern coins are surprisingly difficult to find because even small marks from storage or handling can lower the grade. When collectors compete for one of the finest known examples, prices can climb far above the value of an ordinary coin, showing how condition can be just as important as rarity. Many videos on the internet claim that every 1985 quarter is worth millions of dollars. Those claims are designed to attract attention, but they are not accurate. A price such as $10 million would require an extraordinary combination of factors, such as a historically unique error, exceptional documentation, and intense competition among wealthy collectors. There is no reason to assume that a normal circulated 1985 quarter has that kind of value. That doesn't mean searching your change is pointless. It simply means collectors should separate exciting stories from realistic expectations. The real thrill comes from learning what actually makes a coin rare instead of believing every headline. If you own a 1985 quarter, take a close look before spending it. Examine the coin under good lighting and check for unusual features, strong details, original surfaces, and any signs of a genuine mint error. Avoid cleaning the coin because cleaning can permanently reduce its collector value. If you believe your coin is something special, compare it carefully with normal examples or consider having it professionally authenticated. Even if it doesn't turn out to be extremely rare, learning to identify collectible characteristics is an important skill that every coin enthusiast develops over time. Coin collecting is more than chasing expensive prices. It's about history, craftsmanship, and the excitement of discovery. Every coin has traveled through countless hands, businesses, and moments in history before reaching yours. The 1985 Washington quarter reminds us that even common pocket change can inspire curiosity and encourage us to learn more about how coins are made and why certain examples become prized by collectors. Patience, knowledge, and careful observation often lead to better discoveries than simply hopping every old coin is worth a fortune. So before you spend your next quarter, give it one more look. It may simply be 25 cents, or it could have a feature that catches the eye of a serious collector. The best collectors are not the luckiest. They are the ones who continue learning and pay attention to the smallest details. If you enjoyed this video, Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with fellow coin enthusiasts. Tell us in the comments whether you've ever found an unusual quarter in your pocket change, and stay tuned to Quarter Old Money News for more fascinating stories about rare American coins, valuable mint errors, and the hidden history behind everyday pocket change.